What's up everyone, this is Aaron with RC Drift Network. Today we're going to be taking a look at the CLSD that I put into my GOM the other day. I have a Overdose Ball Diff right here that I'm going to be putting back in. I did a little bit of testing the last few days with the CLSD. I like how it feels, but I rebuilt the Ball Diff. I used a little bit of different grease in there. And I also just switched my electronics, so the car is feeling a little bit more predictable right now. So I want to see if I switch back over to this Ball Diff, if the car still drives as good, if it still is predictable, or what kind of changes I really feel going back and forth between those two. So I've got my camera set up right here. I'm going to do a little time lapse. Let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, so I took the car to the track yesterday and did a little bit of driving, and I wanted to just comment or make a couple notes about a couple things. So I was running the CLSD. I have a gear drive diff right now. I'm not on the belt. So you can run a CLSD in the gear drive setup. You want to make sure that you use the spacing ring on it, and you also want to make sure that your idler gear is spaced correctly. So when I'm doing the mesh on all of these gears, typically what I like to do is make sure that my top shaft gear and my idler gear are meshed perfectly. So with the diff out, I will spin the spur, keep my wheels up so everything is nice. Actually, I'm sorry, this is diff out. So diff out, I make sure that the idler gear is tight, spin that spur, everything should mesh perfectly. You shouldn't have any binding, no weird sounds. It should roll freely. Once you know you have that mesh perfect in there, the top shaft and the idler gear, then I put the diff in, whether that's the Ball Diff or the CLSD. With the GOM, there are these adjustment collars in here, and I'll get some video of these to post up while I'm talking through this. But what you want to do is make sure, one, that they are both in the same position, and two, that they're positioned correctly. So the way that you do that is using there's a dot and two lines. I normally just try to figure out a spot where they're even when I slide the diff in the back, and then get everything kind of built, the quick diff system, put everything back together. And then once it's together, I make sure that I can actually tighten everything down without it, you know, as you're tightening things down and putting stuff back together, you want to be kind of spinning it. But you're not going to have it perfect right off the bat. So before I put the motor on or any of that stuff, I sit there and I adjust those collars. And so right now, the line, there's a line and there's a dot, and I have my dot notched to down from the line. That's just through playing. I'm not going to say that that's where yours is. It's really going to depend on what size tooth idler gear, what size your top shaft gear is, but you want to make sure that all of those are smooth, that you don't have any binding, right? So I get those collars exactly where I want them, and then I put my motor and everything back on. Once I've got it all put back together, I do a final bolt check, make sure everything is tight, and then I turn the car on and I give it a little bit of throttle. I don't go full wide open watt right out of the gate. I just give it a little bit, make sure everything sounds good. When I'm doing that, again, this is once the car has been reassembled, I make sure that I hold my rear arms up so I'm not putting additional stress on the diff cups in the back, that the axle shafts aren't at a really exaggerated angle down. And then I just slowly ease into it, and then if everything sounds good, then I might give it a little bit of boost just to make sure that everything sounds good at wide open throttle as well. So that's just something that I wanted to comment on. You got to play around with those adjustment collars in there. It's so important to make sure that those meshes are good. Otherwise, you're going to end up eating up idler gears. You're going to end up messing up your diff, having a lot of weird uneven wear. The other thing, when I put the CLSD in, I did have to use a few spacers on the idler gear to push it over to the right just a tad. That way it lined up with the diff gear assembly a little bit better. So if you're going to try the CLSD, you could make it work, maybe a couple shims here and there. I really like it. It felt consistent. Again, I was switching back to the Ball Diff just to experiment and see what the feeling was. In talking about this, I'll comment again, make sure that you make that idler gear, you make sure it's tight. Do a couple laps once you have everything put together, bring it back, put it on the table, make sure it's tight. Yesterday when I was testing, I had it come loose. It felt weird. I thought maybe the diff was having an issue. It felt like the car was slipping. About 2 or 3 minutes later, boom, idler gear, it basically stopped driving. My car was just like free rolling. So it had basically just come loose and moved around. So luckily nothing catastrophic happened. As soon as it let loose, I kind of felt it and pulled it off and everything was okay. But double check that, make sure that that screw in there stays tight. Otherwise you could be in for a bad time. So I drove some laps with the Ball Diff. I took it off, tightened it up a little bit. I like how it feels. It's running good. I'll probably stick with it just because I do like the fitment. I also noticed that with the CLSD, the axles were pushing a little bit further into the Ball Diff cups. So I adjusted my rear arms out just 1 notch and that helped out. I had to adjust my camber by doing that as well, but it did work. So either way, the Ball Diff, the CLSD, you can make it work. The CLSD, I like it because it's consistent. You build it, you know what you've got, and it's good to go. So at the end of the day, I'm gonna go ahead and stick with the Ball Diff for now. Like I said before, it fits a little bit better. I don't have to use any shims on the idler gear, and there's a little bit more adjustability. So the CLSD, you build it, whatever your 4 hard, 8 hard, soft springs, however you go. There's a couple adjustments that you can do, and it works well. But just for my car for now, and being able to fine tune some things, the acceleration out of the corner and how the car feels in drift, I'm gonna go ahead and stick with that Ball Diff. So I'm going to throw a couple of videos in here of what those adjustment collars look like. Before we head out, the last thing that I wanted to talk about is a little trick that I figured out a little too late on my GOM. But if you take a 5mm what are they called? Opened end wrench. They fit very nicely on these rod ends, and if you're anything like me, you've pried a couple of them off. I've actually scratched my GOM a few times doing that. I have a shrink wrap on one of my 1.5mm hexes that I use to pry. Not proud of, but I wish I would have figured this out earlier. So a 5mm open-ended wrench will fit really nicely over these rod ends, and you can pop them off really nice. So I'm gonna pop a video of that in the video here overlaid as well. Thank you guys for stopping in. I appreciate your support. Drop a like, drop a subscribe if you enjoy content like this. Always trying to provide more RC drift content for the community, so please let me know what you'd like to see. Everybody stay sideways. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Thanks everyone.